In my last video, I had mentioned that I was going to see The Fog. I was thinking about watching The Fog. It's John Carpenter's. It's like one of in the line. I forget his first movie. Most famously was Halloween, and then Halloween 2. I think was his second one. They did actually do a Halloween 3, and it had nothing to do with Mike Myers. And I know for a fact, because I've read the wiki a few times actually, when he came up with the concept of the Halloween movies, he wanted it originally to be an anthology. So he wanted to be kind of like a slasher film, like the Mike Myers film that he gave us. But he also wanted to do like the third movie. It was something about like demonic masks that these kids put on. And did like dastardly things with these masks. So yeah, you guys obviously know, if you've watched my channel, there are a few movies that I absolutely totally worship. Worship is a good word for it, because I've seen these movies many times. T2, Terminator 2, I've seen a lot. In fact, it was on Pluto, so I've been watching it a few times on Pluto. I think it might have even been on Prime. So I've been watching it on Prime. There's Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's another movie that I just absolutely love. Absolutely love. And one of the movies, let's say top 10 movies, is The Thing. I love The Thing. The Thing is probably by far one of the coolest science fiction movies out there. And when it originally came out, it flopped. It flopped really hard. Before he did The Thing, he did a movie called The Fog. It was with his most famous lead actress. He loved Jamie Lee Curtis. He loved using her in the movies, and he actually used her in The Fog. I haven't seen it in years. Literally, like I said last night, it can be measured in decades since I've seen this movie. I found it on Tubi. I think I'm going to watch it. We'll save Halloween 3 for next Halloween. But in just a few seconds, guys, I will be right back to let you know what I think about The Fog. Alright, see you in just a few. Bye. Well, guys, I just got done watching The Fog by John Carpenter. He was written and directed, and also the soundtrack was done by John Carpenter. Quick synopsis of the movie: we have a small coastal town on the coast of California called Antonio Bay. We have about 5 different characters, 2 of them played by Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Atkins, who went on to star in other John Carpenter's movies, one being Escape from New York, the other one being Halloween 3. Probably, as far as popularity goes, the worst of the 3 Halloween movies. So we have these 5 characters, and throughout this whole movie, they tell us a story about how this town, the small coastal town, was founded by 7 founders of this town. We find out that this coastal town was created by these 7 founders who, I guess, double-crossed these pirates through, they sank their ship and sold their treasure for them. And that was 100 years ago. To the day that the movie is taking place is the 100th anniversary of that particular the founding of that city. So this fog that embodies this supernatural energy kind of sweeps across this whole town and causes all kinds of like electronics to malfunction, things to move on their own, and also brings these 6 zombie pirates into the city. And they terrorized the whole city, but astoundingly enough, you only get to see about 7 of the people that they're actually attacking. let's go with the things that didn't work about this movie. First off, throughout this whole movie, we have a bunch of characters that we really don't understand their individual role in these movies. They were completely forgettable characters, and the only reason that they're there is to kind of narrate the story for us. We go from the very beginning of the story, which is actually kind of the cool, one of the coolest scenes in the movie, is just setting up the premise. It's some old guy with a bunch of 10-year-olds surrounding him, and he's recounting a ghost story, and it's about these 6 or 7 pirates that are tricked into funding the creation of this town. And it's really well acted and really well executed. But it goes from that to another person talking about essentially the same thing, or either that or giving us exposition for the next story plot. And then from there we go to another person. So it's a bunch of talking heads, and there's only a few scenes with a lot with true action and momentum or movement in the story. But honestly, those are the coolest scenes in the movie, and it kind of made the movie for me worthwhile. I enjoyed this movie completely. There's a whole scene when we first get to see our ghostly pirates, when they attack this one ship out in the in the middle of the ocean off the coast, it's really slow moving and very atmospheric. But when we finally get to see these poor sailors being just in the wrong place, so the only guilt that they have is being in the wrong place, and they get slaughtered by these pirates, it's actually really well directed and kind of really cool. I really enjoyed those shots. And the second shot that I really enjoyed is the conclusion of this movie, where the priest, one of the other main characters, one of the other forgettable main characters in this movie, finally figures out that their treasure was melted down into this heavy, solid gold cross. So he presents it to the pirates and his own life if they spare this town. And when those shots of him giving up the cross and them taking it from him, it is well directed and really well visualized to us. It was super creepy and super cool. So let's just talk about the pluses then. If we have totally forgettable characters, then what really drew me into this movie were the visuals of this movie. And I just watched a YouTube video on the making of it. It wasn't all that expensive or complex to go ahead and give us these special effects. They were when the fog's rolling in, it's a simple visual effect that they use in the film. For the fog rolling out in the streets and going underneath the doors and stuff like that, it was simply a fog machine. But within the fog, and we have these characters that are dressed up and costumes for these pirates is really kind of cool, but it's augmented by the directing, by the lighting that he has, and also by the score. The score was amazing to go along with this movie. It really drove the movie and kind of made us made it very suspenseful for the audience and drove the story along. I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did. I really enjoyed it. I would totally give it an 85%. I know watching some of the videos after watching this movie, it did say that this is kind of a financial failure for him. It cost him $1 million to make this movie, and it made $21 million. But in the world of Hollywood, when you're looking at that small margin of profit, it may be considered a failure. But honestly, after it came out on home video, it did gain cult status, and I can understand why. It's not the greatest of the John Carpenter films, but he made some goofy ones as well, and it's totally not the worst. I would highly recommend watching this movie. It was a load of fun. And even though it had a lot of forgettable characters, there were some payoffs in this movie that made that movie totally worthwhile. And 85% is 100% what I'm going to give this movie. And that's it. I really did enjoy this movie a lot more than that stupid Friday the 13th movie I watched yesterday. Guys, that's it. That's my review. Hey, if you guys enjoyed this review, you may want to give it a likes up, or a thumbs up. But leave a comment instead. Just leave a comment and tell me what you think about these movies. Otherwise, guys, hey, that's it for me, and I'm going to get out of here. I do wish everybody peace. Montanay, I'll talk to you guys later, and goodbye.